To introduce John Miller, our Person of the Year. But I want to give you a little bit of background that I know about John. I've known John and Nita for 50 years. When I first came to town, I owned a house on Knott Street, and I needed a surveyor because I was putting up a fence. Well, John came over and did that. Thank you very much. And shortly after that, I came on in the police department as a young Turk. Didn't make much money, $50 a week. My house payments were $92.50. So I gotta tell you, I had to pinch every nickel. When my car went kaput, John had an old car, which he gave to me. He said, I think it's 8-cylinder, I think it's run on 7. But I ran that car for 2 years. Thank you, John. But, I gotta tell a quick story here. John's, when John McCall approached John to see if he'd be willing to be the Person of the Year, John said, gee, I'm not Irish, I'm Swedish. He said, well, that's all right. We had Danny Camilleri as so, along those lines, I saw Danny down at the Corn Fest one day, and they were running a Democrat, which I don't think the Democrats really cared about. So I said, Danny, why don't you hook up and vote for this Republican? He said to me, Jack, there's 3 things I can't change. I'm Italian, I'm Catholic, and I'm a Democrat. I said, well, Dan, I don't know if Dan remembers this way, but I said, Dan, there's only one thing that you can't change, and that's when a good Lord calls you. Everything else is up for grabs. Well, I gotta tell you, not only is John a generous guy, but he's done more for this community in my lifetime in this community than anybody I know. He did so many great things. We had a project that never got off the ground that Danny Camilleri can attest to, and that was a plan we tried to do to get part of the meadows that's right off of Maple Street as you get down by Elm Street. There's about 90 acres there, and it could have been a heck of a tax base. We figured about 1 acre for about nine parcels of land, and that would have been a great tax base, which we passed up here. And the other one that John tried to push was the 291 bypass around Wethersfield. And he predicted then that you're going to have all kinds of cars on the Wells Road and Prospect Street, east and west traffic, if we don't do this. Well, we didn't, and we have the traffic. But there's many other things that John has done behind the scenes for the town of Wethersfield. Most recently was down here at the medical center, down on Silestein Highway, just below Mill Street. One of the things that you ought to know is that when you're talking about a tax base, it's not the building, the land, it's what's inside of it that's taxable. That's where you make your money. And John has, for years, always had Wethersfield at heart, a very generous man, and I'm very pleased to be able to introduce him tonight. John, would you come forward?